안녕하세요. Today we're going to be looking at Zechariah chapter 6, and in Zechariah chapter 6 is the last vision that Zechariah has. Let's look at verse 1. I looked up again, and there before me were 4 chariots coming out between 2 mountains, mountains of bronze. Now, verse 1, the angel ends up sharing to Zechariah the meaning of this. What does the 4 chariots mean? And in verse 5, it says, these are the 4 spirits. In other translations, it says 4 winds of heaven going out from standing in the presence of the Lord of the whole earth. So now these 4 chariots symbolizes the 4 spirits, the 4 winds. And I just want to read really quick Matthew 24, 30 to 31. This is the same term, 4 winds, that is used by Jesus. At that time, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the nations of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. Watch this, verse 31. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. So this term, 4 winds, actually means the whole earth. It actually means that's the width of the Spirit of God that will come back. And now it says, so the 4 chariots are coming between the 2 mountains. And now it says mountains of bronze. And here we have to understand that bronze has a very symbolic meaning to the Jewish tradition, Jewish culture. Do you guys remember the bronze serpent? In Numbers chapter 21, while the Israelites were wandering, they started to complain to God. Said, why are we here? There's no food, there's no water, there's nothing to eat. Why don't we go back to Egypt? And God sent serpents, and these serpents started to bite the Israelites. And what God ended up allowing Moses to build a bronze serpent, and whoever looked at that serpent was now healed. Now, if you look at this, the bronze mountain and the bronze serpent, this is very symbolic, and it actually, bronze symbolizes sin also in the tabernacle and also in Solomon's temple. Jeremiah 52 talks about Solomon's temple had so much bronze that they couldn't even weigh it. This is in Jeremiah 52, verse 20, the bronze from the 2 pillars, the sea and the 12 bronze bowls under it, and the movable stands which King Solomon had made for the temple of the Lord was more than could be weighed. The bronze that was inside Solomon's temple was so much they couldn't weigh it. And not only that, there's bronze in the tabernacle in the desert. And if you guys understand, the tabernacle, the altar of sacrifices was all made with bronze. And the basin that the priests would wash themselves in was all made with bronze. But the interesting thing is, inside the tabernacle, inside the Holy of Holies, it was gold and silver. There was no bronze inside. And so this connection of bronze outside of the tabernacle, but inside the holiest place is only gold and silver. And there's a big connection with that, because silver, Jesus was sold for silver. Silver is redemption. Silver sign is redemption. Gold is the sign of kingship, glory, holiness. And so this use of gold, silver, and bronze is very symbolic to Jewish people. Gold symbolizes the presence of God, the glory, the power, the Holy of Holies. Silver is the redemption. And we're going to see silver and gold later on in this very chapter. But the mountain that these 4 chariots are coming on is the mountain of judgment. And this judgment is towards sin. So Verse 2, it talks about the different colors of the chariots. The first one is red, the second one is black, the third one is white, and the fourth is spotted or dappled. And in Revelation chapter 6, it gives a description of these four. And it means red means bloodshed, black means famine or sorrow, white means victory. And each color has its meaning, but the ultimate meaning is it is God's mission. These four winds, these four spirits, these four chariots are going to carry out the mission of God on the earth. So the different colors of the chariots symbolizes the judgments of God that will come to the earth. Verse 7, it talks about the powerful horses went out. They were straining to go throughout the earth. And he said, go throughout the earth. So they went throughout the earth. Ultimately, in the end, the judgment of God will go to the ends of the earth, as Matthew 24 talks about. But there's something interesting with verse 8. Verse 8 talks about how there will be rest in the north. The north symbolizes Judah. Most of the enemies attacked Judah, and this is very significant because the term rest is repeated. Rest is used in chapter 1, verse 11. In the first vision, there was a horseman, and verse 11, chapter 1, verse 11, the whole world was at rest and in peace. And in chapter 6, verse 8, talks about rest in the land. And so the first vision and the eighth vision is almost like the ends. When God created the heavens and the earth, after he created all things, when it was finished, he rested. And in the same way, this theme of rest will come when judgment is complete. And so we can see that the whole world will not rest until God finishes his purpose, until the enemies are fully judged, fully removed. And God is seeking a resting place. He desires to be on earth, resting as it is in heaven. He wants it to be on earth. And when it's like on earth, in heaven as it is on earth, there will be rest. And this is the conclusion of this vision. So to summarize, the vision is this judgment will now prepare the kingdom that is to come, the reign of Jesus. So that's the last vision. Verse 9 to 15 is now talking about the symbolic crowning of Joshua, and also it's symbolizing the future messianic priest and king. This understanding of a priest and king was given here. Now, verse 9, the word of the Lord came to me, take silver and gold. Now, in the previous verses, it talked about bronze. Bronze symbolizes judgment. It symbolizes sin. Now we're at the point of silver and gold. This crown takes silver and gold from the exiles. Heldai, Tobijah, Jedaiah, these three came from Babylon. Now, this is a very interesting picture because in Jeremiah 52, they took bronze from Solomon's temple and they built stuff with it. But now in this picture, they're saying from Babylon, take gold and take silver and build the crown. And so I think you can see this understanding, bronze being used, being taken from Solomon's temple, but now God transforming that. After the judgment is complete, after the judgment is fulfilled, now he's transforming that. And we're seeing silver and gold here. And as I said, silver symbolizes redemption. Gold symbolizes glory. Now we're at the time of glory. And the names Heldai, Tobijah, and Jedaiah Tobijah means God's goodness. Jedaiah means God knows, and Heldai means full of strength, powerfully made. These three names actually symbolizes who God is. God is good, his goodness, God knows, and God is full of strength. And this crown was to be given to Joshua the high priest as a memorial, as a symbol. It says that in verse 14, the crown will be given to Heldai, Tobiah, Jedaiah, and Hen, son of Zephaniah, as a memorial in the temple of the Lord. This is a sign. This is not for Joshua. This is a sign. There will come a king that will reign forever. Now let's look at the contents. Verse 12. Verse 12 talks about who this person will be. Here is the man whose name is Branch. He will branch out from his place and build the temple of the Lord. It is he who will build the temple of the Lord. He will be clothed with majesty and will sit and rule on his throne. He will be a priest on his throne, and there will be a harmony between the two. Now, if you see the story of Israel, no priest could be a king because the priest line came from Aaron, the Levites, and the king line came from David, the tribe of Judah. They never intersected. So there was no way a priest can be a king. It's impossible because the line is completely separated. But this prophecy is saying there will come someone who will be a priest, but he will also reign like a king. And so in this passage, there's 4 things that this Messiah will do. He will be a priest on the throne. He will build the temple, and he will bear glory and rule on the throne. And lastly, number 4 is Gentiles. Those who are far off will build the temple, and that's found in verse 15. Those who are far away will come and help to build the temple of the Lord. And last but not least, I just want to share verse 15, it ends with this. This will happen if you diligently obey the Lord your God. There is a connection with obedience in this passage. Those who obey will be part of this temple, part of this glory. So to summarize, we're seeing here that God is fully going to establish his kingdom. And we see the similar thread of God's Spirit allowing the purifying to happen, allowing the judgment to happen, allowing the salvation to happen. So in this picture, we're seeing the story of restoration. In order for there to be restoration, there needs to be judgment. And once judgment is fulfilled, there will be rest. And in that place of rest, there will come a kingdom, and this kingdom will be led by the Messiah. God bless you guys.